My view is that this is a long game. The big question for investors is, do you think there will be an XRP ETF in a year or in 2 years? But let's just say in a year. In a year, I think there's a very good argument for that. But I'm optimistic, right? Bitwise wouldn't be in this market. We wouldn't be filing for new ETPs if we didn't think they could launch. And the SEC is moving quickly. But if I were an investor, I wouldn't put, all of my bets on it launching before the 4th of July. That's just like, that would be a very aggressive point of view. I would think more about, are we in the zone where in the next year we'll get one? And I think we feel optimistic that that's true.
The speculation around an XRP exchange-traded fund, or ETF, is gaining momentum, and for good reason. If approved, it could fundamentally change the landscape for XRP, bringing institutional investors into the market and potentially driving significant price movements. The first major development came from Brazil, where regulators recently approved the world's first spot XRP ETF, allowing investors to gain regulated exposure to the asset on the country's B3 stock exchange. This is a significant milestone, as it signals growing institutional interest in XRP outside of the United States. However, for most investors, the real question is whether a similar product will be approved in the US, a move that would carry far greater implications for the market. Several asset management firms, including Grayscale, Bitwise, CoinShares, Canary Capital, and WisdomTree, have already submitted filings for a US-based spot XRP ETF. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has officially acknowledged these applications, setting the stage for a regulatory review process. Market reaction has been swift. Following news of the ETF filings, XRP surged to $2.71 before stabilizing around $2.67. This reflects a mix of optimism and speculation, but it also highlights the volatility surrounding regulatory decisions. A final ruling from the SEC, whether positive or negative, could lead to dramatic price movements. Approval of an XRP ETF would open the doors for institutional capital, providing hedge funds, pension funds, and large-scale investors with a regulated, more accessible way to invest in XRP. Increased liquidity, mainstream acceptance, and greater integration into the traditional financial system could drive XRP's valuation significantly higher. We've already seen this effect with Bitcoin ETFs, where institutional demand helped push Bitcoin to new highs. The same could happen with XRP. In a recent interview with Thinking Crypto's Tony Edwards, Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan examines the potential approval of US spot XRP and Dogecoin ETFs, suggesting that both could happen much sooner than investors expect. Hougan also discusses the current state of the crypto market and what he believes lies ahead for cryptocurrencies in 2025. As we bring you clips from the interview, please take a little time to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks for watching and enjoy the video.
So I can't talk specifically about our filing, but I can talk about what that means generally, which is, you may remember that there was sort of a start and stop motion to these ETFs previously. There were applications filed and then the applications withdrawn. I think the fact that you're seeing them refiled across the board for multiple issuers suggests that, the issuer community thinks the SEC is willing to investigate and consider these things. That doesn't guarantee in any way that they will be approved, but being open to the discussion is much better than not being open to the discussion. So I think conversations around XRP, Solana, and multiple other assets are going to heat up. Our view is that the SEC wants to take an accommodative view and help investors access these assets through ETPs. We'll find out over the next 6 months. But by any perspective, the outlook is better than it was 4 weeks ago and dramatically better than it was 4 months ago. And so that's what I would focus on here. I think you have to feel very optimistic about the direction the SEC is going, but I would say you want to be realistic about the speed. Here's the thing, Tony, which I don't think most people understand. For every commodity ETF launched so far in the US, there has been a regulated futures market that is traded alongside it, which has given us comfort to launch going way back: gold ETPs, corn ETPs, wheat ETPs, and then in crypto, Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there is a big step to take to move to something like XRP or Solana or any other asset for which there isn't a large, robust, regulated futures market. Now, that futures market is not required,
Hmm.
but it's not a trivial step. And because it's not a trivial step, I think even a pro crypto SEC is likely to take their time, analyze, get public comment. My view is that this is a long game. The big question for investors is, do you think there will be an XRP ETF in a year or in 2 years? But let's just say in a year. In a year, I think there's a very good argument for that. Trying to get more specific underneath that, I think you're introducing a huge amount of risk, and there's honestly no way to know. I think we're moving in that direction long term, and that should really be the focus if you're investing, for the next 5 years.
Speaking of new ETFs, I noticed Bitwise filed for a Dogecoin spot ETF. What made you guys do this filing?
Yeah, again, I keep saying this. I can't talk about our specific filing, but I do like to disambiguate or separate Doge from other meme coins, right? Because the thing people hate about meme coins is that they're ephemeral, they're here today and gone tomorrow, and they're subject to insiders rugging the public, right? What we really don't like about meme coins is Hougan, where the founder takes all the money on day one and everyone else is left with zero. Dogecoin's actually the antithesis through that. Dogecoin lived through all of the scandals of crypto, right? If you go way back, Dogecoin was here when Mt. Gox was a thriving business,
Yeah.
right? It is an incredible duration. It's the opposite of ephemeral. It's one of the oldest crypto assets. And it also launched with a fair launch. It has no insiders. There's no insiders in Doge. So the things people hate about meme coins, the primary things, are not true of Doge. Now you are left with a coin that has a cute dog as its logo. And do I think every investor should own Doge? Definitely not. Do I think it's the same thing as Bitcoin? Definitely not. It's playing a different game. But am I going to sit here and tell investors that they're wrong to be excited about this community, which is vibrant and has sustained itself for 12 years? I'm not going to do that. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. So I see too much media coverage that lumps Doge in with Hawktua and Melania and Trump coin and whatever, fart coin. I just think that's the wrong analogy, right? You have to respect its history and its community and its length of stay and the fact that it's an honest dog token. I'm not here to say like it's the future of finance or it's the future of money. I do think anyone who's thought about how markets have evolved over the last 5 years, who watched what happened in GameStop and with Wall Street Bets, who've watched the emergence of these excited communities around crypto and is saying they'll go away, I find that equally as silly as some of the pro takes on the latest meme coin drop. I think both views are irrational. You need to look at this sustained community that's made it through 12 years, and it's probably going to be here for the next 20. And that's interesting to some people, and other people can ignore it, and that's fine, right? I think that's how to think about Doge.
In a recent podcast, Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas emphasized that the SEC's acknowledgement of XRP ETF filings could signal a fundamental shift in how the Commission classifies cryptocurrencies. This change could potentially move cryptocurrencies out of the securities category, which would have far-reaching implications. Eric cited speculation that this shift could eventually prompt a re-evaluation of related lawsuits, marking a significant departure from current regulatory interpretations under U.S. law. The senior Bloomberg ETF analyst also discussed the prospects for a broader range of cryptocurrency ETFs, noting that altcoins such as Dogecoin, Solana, Litecoin, and Cardano have filings already in progress. While the futures of XRP and Solana ETFs remain uncertain, these recent movements indicate a shifting landscape for cryptocurrency-related financial products, with further filings and regulatory decisions anticipated in the coming months. During the discussion with Edwards, Hougan also discusses his views on the current state of the crypto market, highlighting important tailwinds he believes will propel prices higher in 2025 and beyond.
I would love to get your thoughts on the current market conditions and if you see us recovering soon.
Yeah, I absolutely see us recovering soon. I think something very interesting is going on in the market, which is you have this dramatic bifurcation. You have institutional investors who have never been more bullish on this space. We sort of all sit around the table and pinch each other,
Mhm.
wondering if we're missing something because we all think we're going significantly higher. And then at the same time, you have sort of the retail end of the market, which I think is faced some challenges. We haven't seen alt season appear. There's been a lot of big pullbacks, and they're wondering if this cycle is over. When I look at the market, I think in this case, not always, in this case, the institutions have it right. And the reason for that is there's just still so much new money moving into this space. And the regulatory improvements over the last 2 months, really since the last time we talked, are so dramatic that I think we are setting the stage for a multiple year bull market. So I look at all of this volatility as an opportunity. I think crypto investors are always fighting the last war, and the last war was fought over macro. So they're seeing news like tariffs and concerns about inflation looking a little bit hotter than they used to be. And they're worried about that from a liquidity perspective. But I think ultimately what matters in this cycle is actually crypto specific factors. So I think in the end, what's happening specific to crypto, independent of macro, is going to win out. But in the short term, these macro factors, impact the market, and we're seeing that in the vol.
With regards to tariffs, because they're such a huge topic, do you see this being bearish or bullish for the market?
I think it's bearish short term for the reasons you just mentioned, which is it introduces this macro uncertainty and risk. And I think that weighs on the market. Our view at Bitwise is it's strongly bullish long term. We don't think tariffs are the end game. We think they're a negotiating point for the Trump administration. And we think ultimately what the Trump administration really wants to get to is a weaker dollar and lower long-term interest rates. Those are the two things they're focused on: a weakened dollar to spark manufacturing demand in the US, and then lower long-term interest rates. Well, because Trump's a real estate investor at his core, and he knows the importance of low long-term interest rates. So if we're right that tariffs are a tactic and not a long-term strategy to get to these end goals, those will be very supportive for Bitcoin and crypto. I think the market isn't sure yet. It's figuring it out. But our view strongly over time is that they're a tactic, and that ultimately what Trump wants is a lower dollar, and that will be good for Bitcoin and other crypto assets.
Can we expect more ETF filings from Bitwise for blue chip altcoins and maybe other meme coin ETFs?
Yeah, Bitwise is looking at look everything in the crypto ecosystem. We think ETFs are a great vehicle. They're not the only vehicle, but they're a great vehicle that people like because it's regulated, it's low cost, it's secure, and it's easy. I'm excited about a number of coins that are sort of bubbling up in the market. I'm also excited about index-based strategies, and I'm excited about strategies that focus on various ways of delivering income. So you can expect Bitwise to bring a number of products to market. We're not the kind of company that launches products that we don't care about. So we're not going to launch them on assets that we think are going to, be worthless in the future. But you can expect within those three categories to see a number of interesting ideas sort of spin out of our labs in the coming months and years.
In other news, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has voluntarily dropped its appeal in the lawsuit challenging the dealer rule, marking a decisive win for the Blockchain Association, the Crypto Freedom Alliance of Texas, and the broader cryptocurrency industry. The motion to dismiss, filed on February 19th in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, effectively ends the legal battle launched by BA and the Crypto Freedom Alliance of Texas in April 2024, which argued that the SEC had overstepped its regulatory authority. Blockchain Association CEO Kristen Smith celebrated the decision as a turning point under the SEC's new leadership. It's a new day at the SEC following former Chair Gensler's crusade against crypto. Today's voluntary dismissal by the agency is welcome news, she said. We first brought our lawsuit to challenge the SEC's unlawful power grab, which sought to unilaterally redefine its statutory authority. With new leadership paving the way for this final dismissal, we look forward to productive conversations between industry and the SEC and a brighter future for digital assets in the United States. Following Gary Gensler's resignation, President Donald Trump appointed Mark T. Uyeda as acting chairman of the SEC. Uyeda's leadership has already sparked significant policy changes, including the formation of a crypto task force led by Commissioner Hester Peirce, a noted proponent of cryptocurrency innovation. This task force is charged with developing a clear regulatory framework for digital assets, moving away from the previous enforcement-centric model, a move that aligns with President Trump's vision for a crypto-friendly United States. Concurrently, the SEC has paused ongoing litigation against major crypto exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, allowing regulators to reassess their strategies under the new guidance. This series of developments signals a fundamental shift in U.S. crypto regulation, offering hope for a more balanced and forward-looking approach that could pave the way for greater innovation and growth in the digital asset space. Please share your thoughts on Matt Hougan's interview and the recent developments in the crypto space. Do you think altcoin ETFs are the next big thing? How do you think this development will supercharge the bull market in the coming months? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. If you like this video and want more like this, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos. Thanks for watching.